Hi, I'm Dolphanatic. For those who don't know, I'm a Christian. I also like the show My Little Pony Friendship is Magic. I'm bringing these two things up because if there's one thing I can't stand, it's stubborn, hateful idiots who assume the stupidest things and won't stop shoving their idiocy in everyone's faces. You know what's even worse? When they use Christianity as an excuse for it. These people make total fools of themselves, giving Christians like me a bad image. Meet the Vigilant Christian, a YouTube channel run by people who call themselves Christians while they constantly bloat their ego by acting all holier than thou to everyone else, taking no responsibility for themselves but instead blaming everyone and everything but themselves for everything wrong with this world. About a month ago, they posted a video making ridiculous claims about My Little Pony Friendship is Magic and how it is apparently a demonic scheme to brainwash humanity. Pretty stupid, huh? I mean, just look at all the work that was put into the thumbnail for this video. For crying out loud, let's just get this over with. This is my response to the Vigilant Christian's My Little Illuminati Pony Exposed Satanic Sexual Confusion video. Stupid title, I know.
Hey everyone, it's the Vigilant Christian Mario, and you're here for another edition of Illuminati Media Exposed.
Okay, first of all, Mario, that just might have been the laziest transition from an intro I've ever seen. Especially when the intro is so professional and epic. Not even 20 seconds in, I'm already finding problems. Secondly, hi Mario.
In today's video, I'm going to be showing you how Satan is using My Little Pony to destroy young men everywhere. There's actually a huge problem with this. So in this video here today, I'm going to be showing you that. So let's get right into it.
My Little Pony is destroying men everywhere. Because apparently fictional cartoon ponies can do that. Come on, seriously? Oh hey, what do you know? He is right.
Now for those of you who don't know what My Little Pony are,
Is, not are. My Little Pony. Pony is singular. You should know that.
it's basically these little dolls that you can go and buy at the store, and they also have a television show that's very popular. Now, as you can see here on the left, we have the Illuminati eye, so all throughout the TV show, I'm not even going to spend that much time on it, but there is occult esoteric symbolism that's being used. Just quickly to identify a few here, you have the eye in the pyramid, pretty blatant.
It's called the Eye of Providence. I'm not a truther, and even I know that. I thought you were supposed to be professional. Also, you're not the only person to notice this supposed subliminal symbolism. It's a rather well-known Easter egg that, believe it or not, was discovered by us bronies. Yeah, we noticed it first. If you watch the show, you'll see that there are plenty of these Easter eggs, including what looks like a pony-fied Slender Man in one of the episodes. It's most likely a joke. Just because something has a triangle with an eye on it doesn't mean it's automatically satanic. Besides, how would things like an Eye of Providence destroy someone? It's just a triangle with an eye on it.
And it literally looks like they're bringing in the Antichrist with the sun god wheel on the left here, and these type of sphere enlightenment sun ray type of symbolism.
Well, considering Celestia, the pony in the middle, has the ability to control the sun, in a way, Sun God isn't that far off. As for the wheel, well, it has a moon on it, too. It's a reference to Celestia's sister, Luna, who has the ability to control the moon and stars. Yeah, it's kinda cheesy, but it's not demonic. If anything, it more likely resembles the second coming of Jesus with the white horse and chariots and such.
So I'm not going to take too much time. They even had the Bohemian Grove owl featured in an episode.
Again, it's an Easter egg! The book in that episode was a book about owls. Of course it's going to have an owl on the cover.
Owl satanic worship.
What?
Owl satanic worship.
Okay. You really have no idea what you're talking about, do you?
But that's not really the point. What I wanted to talk about here today more than anything is the devastating effects that this TV show is having on young men everywhere. Absolutely confusing them. And this is from Satan.
Oh, come on! Out of all the pictures of bronies you could find, you went with that? You're doing this on purpose, aren't you? You're trying to promote this false stereotype you have of bronies by shoving it in our faces! How immature is that? Aren't you supposed to be convincing us by showing us unbiased evidence? How are we supposed to believe anything you say when you resort to such idiotic methods? Also, how is the show confusing and destroying men? What confusion? How? And again, how is this from Satan? You're not making any sense at all right now.
I've talked about this in a previous video, and I'll leave it linked up for you to check out in the description section. The satanic agenda to confuse the sexes exposed, created equal but different.
Whoa! Seriously? Wow! What a shocker! I totally didn't notice the title of that video. I mean, it's not like you're showing us a screen cap of that video right now with the title and all. Okay, 100 notifications? Now that's a shocker! Well, either that or your videos are so stupid that hundreds of people like me are calling you out and you're just too insecure to respond to any of them.
In this video, I outline how Satan is trying to confuse the sexes by playing a little game on them psychologically, by making them think that if we're not the same, then we can't be equal. Although God created us different and equal, Satan wants you to believe that in order to be equal, we must be the same.
Kinda true, in that we don't need to be identical in order to be equal. For instance, 2 plus 2 and 1 plus 3 both equal 4. But you've got the wrong idea. The whole equal rights movement was never about telling everyone to be exactly the same. It was about treating everyone as equals, which they are, regardless of any inherent differences in ethnicity or gender. In other words, it's about stopping racism and sexism and the like. How is that a bad thing? That's one of the main reasons why I like My Little Pony: Friendship is Magic. It's all about how everyone is different in their own way and how everyone is equally important when it comes to fighting hate with love. Well, except for that one awful episode that I wish had never aired. But that's just one episode, and everyone, including writers, makes mistakes.
But just on a biological level, we see that that is not reality. Women have been given a different physical body, and men as well. And because of that, we will have different roles in our nature, in the functioning of the roles that we would have naturally as two separate sexes that would come together. Now, the beauty of this is God created men weak and women strong in the areas where men are weak, and vice versa. There's this beautiful coming together that happens.
Stop talking down to us. We already know this. You told us already. Stop the pointless rambling. Of course men and women are different, but are still both capable of being equals. How is this relevant to My Little Pony?
But Satan is a deceiver. He wants to confuse mankind, and that is what he is actively doing, making little boys believe that it is okay to embrace a very feminine type of character and attitude.
But didn't you just say that men weren't capable of doing what women were, and women weren't capable of doing what men were? If that's the case, then shouldn't that mean men acting more feminine are doing so because they were designed by God to be capable of that in the same way that women are capable of being more masculine? I'm not saying that's always the case, but what you're saying seems to imply that all men are only capable of acting exclusively masculine, and all women are only capable of acting exclusively feminine. Don't you realize how sexist that is? What if I told you that a lot of the things you probably consider masculine or feminine are actually gender neutral? After all, if both men and women are perfectly capable of things like enjoying a well-written show about well-developed characters going on exciting adventures and learning valuable lessons, then why should it be labeled as being exclusively masculine or feminine? If it doesn't cause any problems, then why would it be bad? Also, stop blaming everything on Satan! Whether he exists or not does not excuse you for taking responsibility for your own actions.
But this is against God. God created them man and woman, not men, woman, all together, and we're all one. No, yes, we are one species, we are mankind, but woman and man, there's a difference. And we need to embrace that, and there's nothing wrong. We are equal. Men are better than women, and women are better than men.
Again with the pointless rambling. Nobody here is claiming that men and women are one and the same. All you're doing is making a fool out of yourself. You're also being kind of sexist, too.
Anyways, I'm not going to take too much time. Check the video out. That's what the satanic agenda it is. And it's to confuse little men like this, little boys, so that they never really truly become true men of God who are going to fulfill their purposes. They will only remain immature, young, confused boys because Satan has confused their sexuality.
Again, explain how! So you finally described this supposed confusion as being sexual confusion. Okay, but how? How does watching a show about fictional cartoon ponies cause any sexual confusion? How is that even possible? It's just a TV show. It can't do that! Listen, Mario. The show has neither told men not to be men, nor women not to be women. Even if it did, it wouldn't hijack people's minds and make them sexually confused. That's not how it works. Like I said earlier, you clearly have no idea what you're talking about. That's why you keep resorting to generalizing and stereotyping. I'm a brony and I am not sexually confused at all. Neither are any other bronies sexually confused by the show, because TV shows can't do that. Neither can it make people immature.
There is an absolute misconception in our world today as to what true manhood is. It is not very feminine where you're buying little dolls and you're behaving like a little girl. And on the other side, it's not a beer drinking, MMA watching, football playing manly man. In fact, neither of those are true representations of manhood. A manhood is described in the Bible as strong, bold, courageous, but also capable of extending compassion, understanding, mercy, and grace.
And how does liking My Little Pony Friendship is Magic prevent us from being strong, bold, courageous, compassionate, understanding, merciful, and graceful? It doesn't. In fact, that's one of the show's main messages. For example, in the episode with that owl book you mentioned earlier, the moral was about accepting responsibility without being jealous. And that's just one of the many positive messages the show has to offer.
This adventure has taught me to never lose faith in your friends. They can be an amazing source of strength and can help you overcome even your greatest fears. Never judge a book by its cover. Someone may look unusual or funny or scary, but you have to look past that and learn who they are inside. Real friends don't care what your cover is. It's the contents of a pony that count. And a good friend, like a good book, is something that will last forever.
I'd say that most bronies fit that biblical definition of manliness quite nicely. Also, you don't completely understand what the Bible meant there. I mean, think about it. While those are great things for a man to have, they aren't exclusively manly. They apply to everybody, not just men. Women should also be those things too, and that's what makes the show so good. It applies to everybody.
I've talked about the biblical manhood perspective a lot on my channel, so you can go back to check out my manhood series to see what God has to say about what a real man is, and it is nothing that Spike TV is going to tell you a man should be, or, unfortunately, these confused young men who are becoming very feminine.
You keep using the word. I don't think it means what you think it means.
I said it before and I'll say it again. We are not sexually confused. Stop being a broken record. And more importantly, stop generalizing. You treat feminine like some inferior state of mind that men are above. I know you stated earlier that men and women are equal, but actions speak louder than words.
Anyways, we won't spend too much time, but that's essentially what we're witnessing here is Satan effectively using this My Little Pony vehicle in order to confuse the individual. The Bible very clearly says in the book of 1 Corinthians chapter 16, verses 13 to 14, it says, "Be watchful, stand firm in the faith, act like men. Be strong." And as you can see here, I took this one because the act like men is highlighted in orange.
No! I totally didn't notice that. Thanks for the observation, Captain Obvious.
This is something that God tells us as men to do, and he's not saying act like a man. That means have a beer and go watch Spike TV and all that nonsense that the testosterone Arnold Schwarzenegger propaganda man which is also another satanic representation of manliness and manhood, tells you that it should be. But God tells us that we as men should be acting like men, lion and lamb, beautiful manhood that only can be actualized through God and his instruction in his holy word.
I have no idea what I'm talking about, so I'm just going to use some Bible verses I found to make myself look smart.
Another thing that's very interesting in the Bible, it also says that it is disgusting. It is not right for a man or a woman to dress in the other sex's clothes. To do so is disgusting to the Lord. It is an absolute abomination. And this is what we're seeing in the world today. The confusion of the sexes. We're seeing that men are becoming more feminine and women are being encouraged to be more manly. This is, again, a satanic agenda to confuse the sexes, to break apart the family.
I heard somewhere on the internet that all bronies are a bunch of cross-dressing perverts. So I'm gonna find a random Bible verse about cross-dressing and take it out of context to make bronies look evil. Look, Mario, if you'd actually read that Bible verse in its original intended context, you'd notice that it's referring to malicious deception, as in cross-dressing to mess around with others for your own selfish gain. Now don't take this the wrong way. I'm not saying it's always right for you to run around in a dress, but you're treating it like a girl wearing jeans is comparable to murder. You need to remember that a lot of these verses are very context dependent. Stop taking them out of context.
The family needs that the parents understand their role. The man needs to know how to be a good man and provider and husband and father, and the woman needs to be a good nurturer, woman, mother. Satan wants to destroy the family in order that we would rely on the state only and not the communities that are built up by a strong fabric of families. This is his agenda, so this is part of it.
Because every single person must live the exact same life, being the same cookie-cutter idealistic image of what some random idiot on the internet thinks a real man of God should be. After all, history has shown us that its greatest and most influential figures are always married, have children, and never do anything out of the ordinary. We're all destined to be the same. Nobody's special or different. Uniqueness and independence should always be frowned upon. Thanks for the heads up.
Be on guard. This is not true manhood.
Another stereotypical brony picture? Seriously?
And I would just ask that I'm not laughing at these people. I'm not trying to mock them.
Oh no, if anything, we're laughing at you right now.
This is of concern to me as a Christian. This is my worldview.
If you're genuinely concerned about us, then why are you constantly making assumptions and generalizing?
And to me, this is very concerning to see the confusion that comes about from what we're seeing in the world today. This thing where men don't know how to be men and women don't know how to be women. And consequently, what's happening is, look at the divorce rate. That's a reflection of men not knowing how to be men and women not knowing how to be women and being married. Look, we're failing. The entire fabric of society will fall apart when the family falls apart. Don't get it twisted.
So, you're saying that My Little Pony is destroying marriage?
That is another thing that Satan is doing through the homosexual agenda, to push the idea to people that they're born that way, even though there's tons of chemicals in the food that they're eating, the water, and that they're born with hormonal problems. Yeah, we're not going to talk about that. So they confuse the living daylights out of the kids. And
that's right, everyone. Being gay really isn't a choice that people can make. It just happens whenever a perfectly straight person accidentally ingests some toxic chemicals due to being born as an inferior being with hormonal problems. Because hormonal problems making people eat food and drink water with toxic chemicals that magically make them gay totally makes sense. Yeah, that's totally not offensive to gay people at all.
All this is just to destabilize the family.
You know, raising a family isn't always for everyone, and there's nothing wrong with that. Stop assuming and assigning potentially unfitting roles to people you don't know.
They want us completely dependent. Even the women's liberation movement, although it looks like it was something positive to liberate women, it really wasn't. It was funded by the Rockefellers, who are an Illuminati family trying to bring about a one-world government.
Now the Rockefeller family is satanic too? How many more people are you going to call satanic? The whole Illuminati New World Order thing is a theory, and a stupid one at that. Stop treating it like a proven fact.
And all they were doing is trying to break apart the family so that they could tax two people, husband and now wife.
What's wrong with women paying taxes? They're adult human beings too. What's next? Are you going to say that adult women shouldn't be able to vote either? Do you have any idea how incredibly sexist you're being right now?
And also that it would be easier to get the kids away from the parents. You know, if the mom's at work, she ain't there to protect the parents.
You mean children?
From the mind control that can come through the schools, and that's where they get the kids. They're literally going to be parenting, the state will be parenting our children, not ourselves.
Mind control? Seriously? You're throwing yet another crazy theory at us and treating it like a proven fact that we're all supposed to just believe? Are you really telling me that public schools are literally controlling children's minds? Do you seriously expect us to believe that? I mean, how on earth is that even possible? I know there have been many attempts to experiment with mind control, but none of them were ever successful. Even if it was somehow possible, how would they do that? Would the teachers somehow reprogram their students' brains while they're in the classrooms so they can somehow be remote controlled by the teachers so they can have an army of zombie children to do their bidding? How is that possible?
So this is all part of the agenda, and this is what we're seeing rolled out here.
Ah! Again, for crying out loud! Stop it with the obviously staged man-child pictures! These are not bronies! These are made-up, exaggerated, stereotypical caricatures of what people want you to believe bronies are! I mean, look at all the pictures you've been showing us. They're all either wearing diapers, have an unrealistic amount of merchandise, or both. Is this really what you think bronies look like? Yes, I have some pony merchandise. It makes for some cute decoration. But that doesn't mean I bury myself in huge piles of it, and I most certainly don't wear a diaper and act like a baby! Why? Because I don't want to waste my life sitting around being immature when I have the capability to do so much more stuff. Better stuff, like, oh, I don't know, contributing to society? Helping others? Spreading the love of Christ? In other words, I have a life. Unlike you wannabe internet tough guy who claims to be a Christian. And you know what? I'm not the only brony that contradicts your lame stereotypes. I've met countless other bronies who are just like me in that none of them fit into your biased stereotypical caricature of what you think a brony is. Isn't it obvious to you that these images are most likely either edited by other people, as in haters, to make bronies look immature or taken out of context? Why did I say taken out of context? Because maybe you might be right about these pictures being real. It's very possible that the people in these pictures are bronies with an obvious sense of humor who are doing it all as a joke. As in they're trying to look ridiculous for the sake of poking fun at the brony stereotypes by going all over the top and showing how stupid those stereotypes really are. It's called satire. Anyway.
These poor young boys who are being satanically confused about what it is to be true men, embracing this satanic feminism in their lives, and this is not what men should be doing.
Ah, yes, those poor little bronies, forced to be satanically confused into not following some predetermined cookie-cutter idealistic image of what some lonely idiot on the internet thinks a real man should be. Yes, pity them, for they have been misled into rejecting society's insulting, destructive, sexist, woman-objectifying, and diminishing image of manliness that constantly gets shoved down everyone's throats. Yeah, woe is them, for they have the courage, love, and tolerance, aka wholesome traits that real men and women should have, to be themselves, all destined by God to be different and equal, regardless of what society tells them. Regardless of how many people try to persuade them, demonize them, bully them, verbally abuse them, physically abuse them, reject them, and maybe even downright hate their guts. A lot of them, including a certain one who is screaming right now, even have the audacity to call themselves Christians. How wrong is that? For Christians to go out to the world and evangelize? Because obviously, that's totally not what God told Christians to do at all. The Bible never said, "Let your light so shine before men that they may see your good works and glorify your Father who is in heaven." Oh no. God clearly said, "Let all men be exactly the same, their manliness determined by their self-righteousness, blaming everyone but themselves for their own shortcomings." dwelling in their parents' basements with their heads covered in tin foil to protect them from the demonically possessed Illuminati reptilian shape-shifting space aliens. Also, let women do nothing productive outside of the kitchen, for it is an abomination for them to be capable of being on the same level as men. I mean, come on! How much more messed up can your so-called logic possibly get? If anyone here is satanically confused, it's you, Mario.
Another interesting thing to point out in closing here, I mean, they're showing their true colors. They even had apocalyptic horse toys, My Little Ponies from Hell. They had a legitimate, the Four Horsemen. Here they are.
Gotta admit, those are some really awesome looking fan-made action figures. Oh, what's wrong? Can't take a joke? Come on, you're missing the point. It's supposed to be a joke. It's not supposed to mean anything else.
So this is the spirit behind this company, flashing esoteric Illuminati symbolism, being responsible for sexually confusing men all across the world.
Oh, wait, did you? How funny!
You seriously think those are officially licensed products that are being sold in stores? Oh, wow.
They're actually called bronies. It's a phenomenon. It's a known phenomenon.
Yeah, we know. And apparently you already know we know. Otherwise you wouldn't be calling it a known phenomenon. Even if you didn't know we already knew, why did you wait until this far into the video to address it?
These guys, they call themselves bronies.
You just said that 3 seconds ago. Stop being a broken record.
And they probably have like little conventions where they get together and share their dolls and talk about how awesome My Little Pony is.
Not bad. That's actually not that bad of a basic description. It seems you know more about bronies than I thought you did. If you know that much, then what's so satanic about it again?
When these are men that should be rising up for the kingdom of God, standing for righteousness and truth, progressing the kingdom of our Lord, but Satan has them trapped and bound in something that is very immature, very unmanly, and is really an embarrassment to the man that God created us to be.
I see. So basically what you're saying is that actually you're not saying anything you haven't already said. You're just mindlessly rambling and repeating yourself again.
You know? But there you have it, brothers and sisters and everyone watching. Oh, yeah, and I just wanted to point out, because I can almost hear the objections coming from people who don't hold a Christian worldview.
Oh, great. I guess it automatically makes me an atheist. Well, so much for being a Christian. Care to tell me more about myself that I apparently don't know?
That, you know, you're being extremely judgmental. These people are born that way. You're not taking that into consideration. Well, let me tell you something. Have you taken into consideration that it is probably a hormonal problem? Did you know that BPA and many chemicals are being added to our diets, and all they're doing is raising our estrogen levels? In the description section below, men, you can find this diet, the best breakfast for men. This is actually a great way to raise up your testosterone. There is an active chemical war against your hormonal state right now. They want to create hormonally imbalanced men so that they can sexually confuse them with their gay homosexual propaganda through TV and music and the school systems. The chemical is what is causing these men to believe themselves to be confused. If you are full of estrogen, just chock full of estrogen, no wonder you feel very feminine. I myself am not proud of this, but at an earlier point in my life, I did experiment with steroids, so I was playing around with my hormones, and you know what? That stuff can really mess you up. It can make you feel things and have thoughts, and for example, raising testosterone levels can, you know, cause violence and things like this. So raising estrogen levels can cause extreme feelings of being feminine and weak and crying and things like this, and very in tune with your feminine side, but you're just full of BPA and chemicals that raise your estrogen. So everyone out there, it's time that we recognize there is a biochemical war against us to destabilize the family, to destroy the very fabric of society, to bring in the new world order. And this is all part of using these little dolls.
No! Let me tell you something! Stop blaming everything on Satan. Take some responsibility for crying out loud. Be a real godly man. Stop it with the ridiculous conspiracy theories about mind-controlling hormones. That's not how hormones work. Do you have any idea how utterly stupid you are sounding? Actually, maybe you don't. So here's an example for you to take into consideration. So there's this game called Minecraft, and it's becoming really popular. And that's because it's a demonic tool made by the Illuminati to brainwash people everywhere. This game has enchantment and stuff, so, that means it's clearly witchcraft and stuff, enchantment, witchcraft, devil worship, and yeah. So, as you can see, there's even these weird symbol thingies flying into this enchantment book thingy here, so, it's clearly esoteric Illuminati symbolism. I mean, there's even a triangle-shaped one, as you can see here. And there's actually this other realm, place, dimension thing you can go to, and it's kind of like hell. It even says so here in this picture, as you can see. So yeah, as you can see, this game is full of satanic symbolism and subliminal messages about devil worship and stuff. That's literally exactly what you're doing! You're just waving your cursor around in front of some pictures you found on the internet while making claims about people and things you know nothing about and treating them as facts. That's just so stupid, so immature, so not Christian. Just,
This is the Vigilant Christian saying God bless each and every one of you. As always, stay vigilant and fear no evil.
Finally, that awful video is over. Well, that was Mario from the Vigilant Christian, and to be honest, that was embarrassing. This is the real evil going on. Not hormones brainwashing people, but people selfishly slandering others and blaming everyone and everything but themselves instead of taking responsibility and doing the right thing. Please, people, believe me when I say that not all Christians are like this. I'm Dolphanatic. I'm a Christian who is also a brony, and I'm glad to be done with this.
Me? What did I teach you? Just because some pony is ladylike doesn't make her weak. In fact, by using her wits, a seemingly defenseless pony can be the one who outsmarts and outshines them all.